Hey everyone, welcome to the online program of Amrita IAS Academy. My name is Sibi Joy, and as part of our monthly current affairs MCQ series, this is part 1B of August 2020. So without any delay, we'll go into the video. Consider the following statements about time capsule. 1. It is a clock that is automatically synchronized to a time code transmitted by a radio transmitter connected to a time standard. 2. It requires special engineering as radioactive materials are used for the encasing the time capsule. Select the correct answer using the given below code. Option A 1 only, option B 2 only, option C both 1 and 2, and option D none of the above. So, talking about time capsule, this is something that has been present in the news. And what time capsule talks about is not what these two statements are about. Rather, they are about something else. So, in this case, I would definitely say the answer, both the statements are wrong, and the answer D, that is option D, neither 1 nor 2 would be the, or none of the above would be the right answer. We'll look at the explanation and see what the time capsule is all about. The answer is D. Statement 1 is not correct because time capsule is a container of any size or shape which accommodates documents, photos and artifacts typical of the current era and is buried underground for future generations to unearth. So, it's actually meant to be a representative of the present situation or the present era, and which can be taken later by the future generations to know about the present era. The second statement is not correct because the time capsule requires special engineering so that the contents don't decay even if pulled out after a century. So, it's not radioactive materials definitely. Materials such as aluminum and stainless steel are used for the encasing, and the documents are often reproduced on acid-free paper. There have been a number of prominent examples. One time capsule outside the Red Fort and placed underground in 1972 by Prime Minister Indira Gandhi was dug out by the subsequent government, and other time capsules are at schools in Mumbai, IIT Kanpur, Lovely Public University in Jalandhar, and Mahatma Mandir in Gandhinagar. The International Time Capsule Society, ITCS, based in the US and formed in 1990, is now defunct, but continues estimating the number of time capsules in the world. As per its database, there are nearly 10,000 to 15,000 time capsules all over the world or worldwide. So that is the explanation about time capsule. I hope you understood what it is. We'll go for the next question. Consider the following statements about the Higher Education Financing Agencies, or HEFA. 1. It is a joint venture company of Canara Bank and Ministry of Human Resource Development. 2. It provides financial assistance for creation of educational infrastructure and R&D in India's premier educational institutions. 3. It restricts companies to contribute their CSR or donations for schemes of higher education. Select the correct answer using the given below code. Option A 1 and 2 only, option B 1 only, option C 2 and 3 only, and option D 3 only. So, looking at this, talking about HEFA. So, the second statement, it provides financial assistance for creation of educational infrastructure and R&D in India's premier educational institutions, seems to be right, and it seems to be matching with the demand of the question. So, let's take the second statement as right. If the second statement is taken as right, we are left with just two options, that is option A 1 and 2 only and option C 2 and 3 only. So, either 1 is right or option C, the third statement is right. Looking at that, the third statement seems to be a bit of a controversial because it restricts companies to contribute their CSR or donation for schemes of higher education. Usually, there should not be any restriction for, especially from companies or donations, especially from the CSR, to come towards higher education. Taking that into account, I can say that the third statement seems to be a bit illogical. So, remove the third statement. We are left with just one option, that is option A 1 and 2 only. I believe that to be the right answer. Let's look at the explanation. The answer is A. Statement 1 is correct because HEFA is a joint venture company of Canara Bank and Ministry of Human Resource Development of the Government of India. The second statement is also right because it provides financial assistance for creation of educational infrastructure and R&D in India's premier educational institutions. The third statement is not correct because HEFA tries to channelize CSR contributions from companies and donations for various schemes in uplifting higher education. The objective is developing India's top-ranked institutions like IITs, NITs, IIScs, and AIIMS into globally top-ranking institutions through improvement in their academic and infrastructure quality. The objectives will be achieved by financing the building of educational infrastructure, R&D infrastructure, and thereby enabling the institutions to reach top rankings globally. So that is the explanation for this question. Hope you all understood this. We'll go for the next question. Question number 15. Consider the following statements about the Program for International Student Assessment, or PISA. 1. It is a worldwide study by the UNESCO. 2. It intends to evaluate higher education systems in member and non-member nations. 3. Since its inception, India participated in all round of PISA testing. Which of the above mentioned statements are correct? Option A 1 and 2 only, option B 2 and 3 only, option C 1 and 3 only, and option D none of the above. So, looking at this, PISA is something that has been a part of our news cycles consistently since India recently became a member of PISA again. India was earlier not a member of PISA, but now it has become a member of PISA. So, taking that into account, I can say that option B and C, you can remove it. So since the third statement is removed, now you are left with either option A 1 and 2 only and option D none of the above. 1 and 2 only. It intends to evaluate higher educational systems in member and non-member nations. And the first statement, it is a worldwide study by the UNESCO. Worldwide study by UNESCO seems to be a bit illogical because PISA is not conducted by the UNESCO it's run by the OECD. So removing statement 1 also removes statement 2. We are left with option D, none of the above. So we look into the more clarified details of what is PISA. The answer is D. Statement 1 is not correct because PISA is a worldwide study by the OECD, or the Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development, in member and non-member nations. The second statement is not correct because it intends to evaluate educational systems by measuring 15-year-old school pupils' scholastic performance, not higher education, but 15-year-old school pupils' scholastic performance on mathematics, science and reading. The third statement is not correct because India participated in the 2009 round of testing but pulled out of the 2012 testing, with the Indian government attributing its action to the unfairness of PISA testing to Indian students. India did not participate in 2012, 2015 and 2018 PISA rounds. In Feb 2017, the Ministry of Human Resource Development decided to end the boycott and participate in PISA from 2020. It was performed in 2000 and then repeated every 3 years. Its aim is to provide comparable data with a view to enabling countries to improve their education policies and outcomes. It measures problem solving and cognition. So that is the explanation for PISA. I hope you all understood this. We'll go for the next question. Consider the following statements about Sanskrit language. 1. It enjoys the classical language status. 2. Sudharma is the only Sanskrit newspaper in the world. 3. It is not included in the 8th schedule of the Indian Constitution. Which of the above mentioned statements are correct? Option A 1 and 2 only, option B 1 and 3 1 only, option C 2 and 3 only, and option D 3 only. So looking at this, I can say one statement, that the third statement, it is not included in the 8th schedule of the Indian Constitution. We will be learning about the schedules, various schedules of the Indian Constitution as part of our Indian polity preparation for the UPSC Civil Services examination. In that you will learn what are the different schedules, and the 8th schedule talks about the major official or the languages in the country, or the 8th schedule languages of a country. So looking at that, Sanskrit is a part of the 8th schedule languages of a country, and I would say the third statement is absolutely wrong. Remove the third statement, you are left with just two options, option A 1 and 2 only, and option B 1 only. So let's look at automatically the first statement becomes right, that is 1. It enjoys classical language status. The second statement, Sudharma is the only Sanskrit newspaper in the world. That is the second statement. Even though the absolute keyword directive only is present, Sanskrit is comparatively dead language, that it's not spoken very much by a large number of people. So taking into account that Sudharma can be the only Sanskrit newspaper in the world, I would say let's go for it. Or even if you have any doubt, we managed to make it a 50-50 elimination. And now we are left with just two options, that is option A 1 and 2 only and option B 1 only. I'd go with option A 1 and 2 only. Let's look at the explanation. The answer is A. Currently, 6 languages enjoy the classical status. Tamil declared in 2004, Sanskrit 2005, Kannada 2008, Telugu 2008, Malayalam 2013 and Odia in 2014. Second statement is right because the only Sanskrit newspaper in the world is called Sudharma, and it has been published since 1970 from Mysuru in Karnataka, and is also available online, given the fact that Sanskrit is said to be the most computer friendly language. The third statement is not correct because 8th schedule of the Indian Constitution includes the list of recognized languages. It includes 22 languages and Sanskrit is one of them, but English is not included in that list. So that is the explanation for Sanskrit. I hope you all understood about this. We'll go for the next question. Question number 70. In context of the Electronic Vaccine Intelligence Network, or EVIN, consider the following statements. 1. It is an indigenously developed technology system that digitizes vaccine stocks and monitors the temperature of the cold chain through a smartphone application. 2. It is implemented by the Ministry of Electronics and Information Technology. Choose the correct code. Option A 1 only, option B 2 only, option C both 1 and 2, and option D neither 1 nor 2. So looking at this, I would say that the first statement can be right, but the second statement, it is implemented by the Ministry of Electronics and Information Technology, seems to be wrong, because vaccination intelligence network, most probably which monitors the temperature of the cold chain, it would generally be the Ministry of Family and Ministry of Health and Family Welfare that would be looking at this. So I'd say the second statement is wrong in this context, and the first statement seems to be right because that is the description of EVIN. So I'd go with the answer option A 1 only. Let's look at the explanation. The answer is A. Statement 1 is correct because EVIN aims to strengthen the evidence base for improved policy making in vaccine delivery, procurement and planning for new antigens in India, and it provides an integrated solution to address widespread inequities in vaccine coverage by supporting state governments in overcoming the constraints of infrastructure, monitoring and management information systems and human resources, which often results in overstocking and stockouts of vaccine storage centers. So even is actually an indigenously developed electrotechnology system that digitizes vaccine stocks and monitors the temperature of the cold chain through a smartphone application, and this is presently being implemented across 12 states, that is Assam, Bihar, Chhattisgarh, Himachal Pradesh, Gujarat, Jharkhand, Madhya Pradesh, Manipur, Nagaland, Odisha, Rajasthan and Uttar Pradesh in India. The second statement is not correct because it is implemented under the National Health Mission by the Ministry of Health and Family Welfare in partnership with United Nations Development Program. So that is the explanation of even. I hope you all understood this. We'll go for the next question. The ammonium nitrate, sometimes seen in news, is used as 1. High nitrogen fertilizer, 2. Component of explosive mixtures, 3. Nutrient in producing antibiotics. Choose the correct code. Option A 1 and 2 only, option B 2 only, option C 1 and 3 only, and option D 1, 2 and 3 only. So ammonium nitrate is actually used as a fertilizer. It's also used as a part of explosive manufacturing, and it is also used as a nutrient in producing antibiotics. So in this case, I would say that all the three options seem to be right with relation to ammonium nitrate. Even if you are not aware about it, take this chance to know about it, and I'll go with the option D 1, 2 and 3 only. Let's look at the explanation. The answer is D. Ammonium nitrate is commercially available both as a colorless crystalline solid and processed into pills for specific application. It does not readily burn but will do so if contaminated with combustible material. Accelerates the burning of combustible material. It is predominantly used in agriculture as a high nitrogen fertilizer. Its other major use is as a component of explosive mixtures used in mining, quarrying and civil construction, and also as a nutrient in producing antibiotics and yeast. So that is the explanation for ammonium nitrate. See where all it is being applied, and once that is in your mind, we'll go for the next question. Consider the following statements about the WEE cohort initiative. 1. It encourages women to take up entrepreneurship as a viable, fulfilling career option. 2. It is a joint initiative of Niti Aayog and Ministry of Women and Child Welfare. Select the correct answer using the given below code. Option A 1 only, option B 2 only, option C both 1 and 2, and option D none of the above. So looking at this question, I'd say we'll be learning about the major initiatives or the schemes by the government, and one thing we'll be always learning about that is what is the objective of them and which ministry is involved in this. In this, I would say the first statement, it encourages women to take up entrepreneurship as a viable, fulfilling career option, is the right answer. But the second statement is a joint initiative of Niti Aayog and the Ministry of Women and Child Welfare. While it may seem initially to be right, it is not the Ministry of Women and Child Welfare or Niti Aayog that is being involved, but rather it's the Ministry or the Department of Science and Technology. So the second statement is wrong. First statement is right. I'd go with the answer option A 1 only. Let's look at the explanation. Statement 1 is correct because the Women Entrepreneurship and Empowerment WEE cohort initiative helps women ranging from college-going students to middle-aged housewives to take up entrepreneurship as a viable, fulfilling career option. The second statement is not correct because it is India's first of its kind initiative to strengthen women's ecosystem at IIT Delhi, supported and sponsored by the Department of Science and Technology. So it is actually implemented by IIT Delhi and supported and sponsored by DST. So that is the explanation for this question. Hope you all try to understand this. We'll go for the next question. Consider the following statements about Sir Creek. 1. It is a tidal estuary in the uninhabited marshlands of the Luni River Delta. 2. It separates Gujarat state in India from the Sindh province in Pakistan. 3. This region is rich in oil and gas reserve. Which of the above mentioned statements are correct? Option A 1 and 2 only, option B 2 and 3 only, option C 3 only, and option D all of the above. So the first statement, Sir Creek issue is something that has been there in the news recently with regards to Indo-Pakistan relation and and also with certain kind of border disputes. So in this case, we'll know that it is a tidal estuary in the uninhabited marshlands of the Luni River Delta. Is a wrong answer because the Luni River Delta is actually, it ends in the run of Kutch. So I'd say the first statement itself is wrong. Remove the first statement, you are left with the option B and C, that is 2 and 3 only, and option C 3 only. Second statement, it separates Gujarat state in India from the Sindh province in Pakistan. Yes, that is absolutely true because it does separate Gujarat state in India from the Sindh province in Pakistan. The third statement, this region is rich in oil and gas reserve. Both options have the third statement. I would say that both of them are right, and I'd go with the answer option B 2 and 3 only. Let's look at the explanation. The answer is B. Statement 1 is not correct because Sir Creek, originally named Banganga, is a 96-kilometer tidal estuary in the uninhabited marshlands of the Indus River Delta on the border between India and Pakistan. The second statement is correct because it flows into the Arabian Sea and separates Gujarat state in India from Sindh province in Pakistan. And the third statement is also right because apart from strategic location, Sir Creek's core importance is its fishing resources. Sir Creek is considered to be among the largest fishing grounds in Asia, and much of the region is rich in oil and gas below the seabed, and control over the creek would have a huge bearing on the energy potential of each nation. Luni is the largest river in the Thar Desert in northwest India. It originates in the Pushkar Valley of the Aravalli Range near Ajmer, passes through the southeastern part of portion of the Thar Desert, and ends in the marshy lands of Rann of Kutch in Gujarat. So understand the difference between the Luni River and where Sir Creek is coming from, where it is located, and what is its importance. So that is the explanation for this question. We'll go for the next question. Consider the following statements. 1. The Parliament can make laws on any subject of the three lists for the Union territories. 2. Every Union territory is administered by the President acting through an administrator appointed by him. 3. The President can appoint the Governor of a state as the administrator of an adjoining Union territory. Which of the above mentioned statements are correct? Option A 1 and 2 only, option B 1 only, option C 2 and 3 only, and option D 1, 2 and 3 only. So looking at this, we'll be learning about the powers of the Parliament or the powers of the President over the Union territory, or what exactly is the Union territory and what are the powers vested upon them and who controls them or who administers them. So while learning about it in polity, we'll know that the Parliament can actually make laws on any subject of the three lists for the Union territories because it is a part of the Union part. And we can say the first statement is absolutely right. So if the first statement is right, let's remove option C 2 and 3 only. The second statement, every Union territory is administered by the President acting through an administrator appointed by him. Yes, that is true because every Union territory is administered by the President and who appoints an administrator for dealing with the administrative duties. So taking that into account, I can say the second statement is also right. The third statement, the President can appoint the Governor of a state as the administrator of an adjoining Union territory. Yes, the President can appoint the Governor of a state as the administrator of an adjoining Union territory. So I'd say that all the three statements are right in this context, and I would go with the answer option D 1, 2 and 3 only to be the right answer. Let's look at the explanation. The answer is D. Statement 1 is correct because Parliament can make laws on any subject of the three lists, including state lists for the Union territories. This power of Parliament also extends to Puducherry, Delhi and Jammu and Kashmir, which have their own local legislatures. This means that the legislative power of Parliament for the Union territories on subjects of the state list remain unaffected even after establishing a local legislature for them. But the Legislative Assembly of Puducherry can also make laws on any subject of the state list and the concurrent list. Similarly, the Legislative Assembly of Delhi can make laws on any subject of the state list except for public order, police and land, and also the concurrent list. The statement 2 is correct because every Union territory is administered by the President acting through an administrator appointed by him. An administrator of a Union territory is an agent of the President and not a head of state like the Governor. Statement 3 is correct because the President can also appoint the Governor of a state as the administrator of an adjoining Union territory, and in that capacity the Governor is to act independently of his Council of Ministers, or that the government will not take the advice of the Council of Ministers while being appointed for that or for looking into the administration of that Union territory. So that is the explanation with regards to the Union territory. I hope you all understood about this. We'll go for the next question. Question number 22. In context of the mangrove forest, consider the following statements. 1. Pichavaram mangrove of Tamil Nadu is the largest mangroves region in the world. 2. Mangrove forests act like a carbon sink. 3. The India State of Forest Report of 2019 has observed a decline in the mangrove cover as compared to the previous assessment of 2017. Choose the correct code. Option A 1 and 2 only, option B 2 only, option C 1 and 3 only, and option D 3 only. So looking at this, I would say the first statement is wrong because Pichavaram mangrove of Tamil Nadu is the largest mangrove region in the world. No, it's actually the Sundarbans region of India which is the largest mangrove region in the world. So the first statement is absolutely wrong. Remove the first statement. You are left with just two options, option B 2 only and option C 3, option B 2 only and option D 3 only. So either option B is right or option D is right. So either statement 2 or 3 is right. Second statement, the mangrove forest act like a carbon sink. Yes, forests actually act like a carbon sink because they absorb the carbon from the atmosphere and store it inside the forest soil or inside the forest trees themselves. So the second statement is right. Let's look at the third statement. The India State of Forest Report of 2019 has observed a decline in the mangrove cover as compared to the previous assessment of 2017. No, the forest cover of mangroves has actually increased over the past 2 years. So I'd say that the third statement is also wrong and the second statement is right. So I'd go with option B 2 only as the right answer. Let's look at the explanation. The answer is B. Statement 1 is not correct because the Great Sundarbans is the largest mangrove region in the world and also a UNESCO World Heritage Site. Sundarbans region is densely covered by mangroves. It is a national park, tiger reserve and a biosphere reserve park of India. Pichavaram mangrove is one of the largest mangroves in India, situated at Pichavaram near Chidambaram, Tamil Nadu. Pichavaram ranks among one of the most exquisite scenic spots in Tamil Nadu and home of many species of aquatic birds. The second statement is right because mangroves are powerhouses when it comes to carbon storage. Studies indicate that pound for pound mangroves can sequester 4 times more carbon than rainforests can, And mangrove forests can play an important role in carbon removals because they are among the most carbon dense ecosystems in the world, and if kept undisturbed can provide mangrove forest soils can actually act as long term carbon sinks. The third statement is not correct because the mangrove ecosystems are unique and rich in biodiversity, and they provide numerous ecological services. Mangrove cover has been separately reported in the India State of Forest Report, or ISFR 2019. Has been published by the Forest Survey of India, and the total mangrove cover in the country is 4,975 square kilometer. An increase of 54 square kilometer in mangrove cover has been observed as compared to the previous assessment of 2017. Top 3 states showing mangrove cover increase are Gujarat, followed by Maharashtra and Odisha, that is respectively 37 square kilometer, Maharashtra 16 square kilometer and Odisha 8 square kilometer. So that is the explanation for this question. I hope you all understood about the major mangroves in India. We'll go for the next question. The 103rd Amendment of the Constitution of India, sometimes seen in news, has A. Granted constitutional status to the National Commission for Backward Classes, B. Introduced a national goods and services tax in India, C. Granted 10% reservation for economically weaker sections of the society, D. Extends the deadline for cessation of the reservation of seats for members from scheduled caste and scheduled tribes in the Lok Sabha and the state legislative assemblies. So the 103rd Amendment of the Constitution of India is something that has been seen in the news consistently over the last period, the last 1 year. So I'd say the third option C, granted 10% reservation for EWS of society, is the right answer. That is what the 103rd Amendment talks about. So we'll be learning about the major amendments and what they talk about while preparing for the Indian polity classes for UPSC Civil Services examination. And the 103rd Amendment has been there in the news consistently because it was recently passed, and it is in regards to the EWS reservation given to the for higher education institutions and also in other public institutions too. So let's look at the explanation. The answer is C. The 103rd Amendment of the Constitution of India, officially known as the Constitution 103rd Amendment Act of 2019, introduces 10% reservation for the EWS of general category for admission to central government run educational institutions and private educational institutions except for minority educational institutions and for employment in central government jobs. So that is the explanation for this question. I hope you all understood about the 103rd Constitutional Amendment. We'll go for the next question. Consider the following statements about the Pokali rice. 1. It is a unique drought tolerant rice variety. 2. It has been awarded with the geographical indications tag. 3. Pokali cultivation has ecological benefits. Select the correct answer using the given below code. Option A 1 and 2 only, option B 1 only, option C 2 and 3 only, and option D 3 only. So Pokali rice is something that has been recently given the GI tag and it was there in the news. So I'd say the second statement is right. And also one benefit of the Pokali cultivation is it has ecological benefits. The third statement is also right. But the first statement, it is not a unique drought tolerant rice variety, but it is actually a saline tolerant rice variety. So this has been the news recently with regards to Pokali rice and cultivation. I would say that the statement option C 2 and 3 seems to be the right answer with regards to this, and the first statement seems to be wrong. Let's look at the explanation. The answer is C. Statement 1 is not correct because Pokali is a unique saline tolerant rice variety that is cultivated using extensive aquaculture in an organic way in the waterlogged coastal regions spread in about 5,000 hectares area in Alappuzha, Thrissur and Ernakulam districts of Kerala and southern India. The statement 2 is correct because the brand Pokali has received a GI tag from the Geographical Indications Registry Office of Chennai. Naturally and organically grown in the coastal areas of central Kerala, the Pokali rice is called as the clever man's rice. A farmer must utilize the naturally available ecological system as a fertilizer to cultivate the rice variety. This third statement is right because Pokali cultivation should be encouraged for its ecological benefit, as the paddy draws fresh water and itself prevents the entry of seawater. The fields are used for rainwater harvesting. This is significant in times of climate change, and Pokali is the first line of defense against seawater entry. Pokali, rice and prawn are cultured in the same field. During high salinity, the prawn farming takes over, which feeds on leftovers of post-paddy harvest. The rice crop, which gets no other fertilizer or manure, draws nutrients from the prawn's excrement and other remnants. The Pokali rice farming and prawn culture are mutually complementary and ecologically viable. Pokali has medicinal properties, and its higher value of antioxidants and low carbohydrate content makes it preferable to those on low sugar diet. Vaitla 11 is the latest variety of Pokali developed by the Kerala Agriculture University. So that is the explanation of the Pokali rice and the Pokali cultivation, and these are the major points about it. That is the explanation for this question. Let's go for the next question. Consider the following statements about the Directorate General of Foreign Trade, or the DGFT. 1. It is responsible for administering laws regarding foreign trade and foreign investment in India. 2. It is chaired by the Union Minister of Commerce and Industry. 3. It is responsible for formulating and implementing the foreign trade policy with the main objective of promoting India's exports. Which of the above mentioned statements are correct? Option A 1 and 2 only, option B 2 and 3 only, option C 1 and 3 only, and option D all of the above. So looking at this with regards to Directorate General of Foreign Trade. So I would say that the first statement, it is responsible for administering laws regarding foreign trade and foreign investment in India, seems to be right. But the second statement is chaired by the Union Minister of Commerce and Industry. There is someone known as the Director J. If the body itself says Directorate General of Foreign Trade, definitely that body is going to have someone known as the Director General. And that Director General could be someone who is appointed and not the Union Minister of Commerce and Industry. So I'd say the second statement seems to be illogical in this context. If you remove the second statement, you are left with just one option, option C, 1 and 3 only. So whenever you see a body like a Directorate General of Foreign Trade or Directorate General of something, they generally have an official known as the Director General of that body. And it may not necessarily be the Union Minister or any minister, but it will be an appointed person. So in this case, I would say the second statement is wrong and I would remove it. We are left with option C, 1 and 3 only. That is, it is responsible for formulating and implementing the foreign trade policy with the main objective of promoting India's exports and also for administering laws regarding foreign trade and foreign investment in India. So go with option C, 1 and 3 only. Let's look at the explanation. The answer is C. Statement 1 is correct because the Directorate General of Foreign Trade is the agency of the Ministry of Commerce and Industry of the Government of India, responsible for administering laws regarding foreign trade and foreign investment in India. The second statement is not correct because it is headed by the Director General of Foreign Trade. The third statement is right because it is responsible for formulating and implementing the foreign trade policy with the main objective of promoting India's exports. The DGFT also issues scripts authorization to exporters and monitors their corresponding obligations through a network of 25 regional offices. So that is the explanation for this question. With this, we are concluding this video. I hope you all understood this. This is CB Joy signing off. Everybody have a nice day. Thank you.